to my channel and welcome to vlog 2 of Summerween. This is going to be the vlog for days 4, 5, and 6, and if you haven't seen my first vlog, I'm going to link it up above and down below, so you guys can go check that one out to know what I've been up to over the last couple of days. Now, the last vlog left you kind of on a cliffhanger, so I thought I would ease your mind and just tell you the baked goods was amazing. I mean, look at this. It's so fluffy and it's so good. So I know that's what you were wondering, right? But no, let's get back to the books. So I ended up not continuing with Rewitched. It's not a complete DNF, it's a soft DNF for now, because I do think that I might get back into it once I read the sequel or the companion novel that is coming out in September. And if I'm like in love with that one, I might come back to this one. But at the moment, I don't think that the story grabbed me as much as I wanted it to, and just the writing style wasn't something where I went, oh my god, I need to dive back into it, it's so beautiful. It's just for me. And like I said, the love story wasn't something that I was like gravitating towards either. So I'm DNFing this for now, which is sad because I had high hopes for this one because the cover is beautiful. But I do have a book for today. Today's prompt is to read a book that you've owned for more than a year, and I decided to go with The Book Eaters by Sun Dean. It's pretty short, so it should work with me having to work until 6 p.m. and only having time to read after. So I should get a decent amount of pages read after I get home. I've had this for a while since it came out because it was an Illumicrate exclusive, so I got it around the time that it was released. And I have read the first chapter once, so I'm 8 pages already in, but I am gonna reread them. I really liked it. I thought it was, oh my god, look at this. I just saw this for the first time. So beautiful. So I did think it was creepy and on the edge of horror, so this works perfectly for Summerween. And it's all about book eaters, which means that whatever book you eat, whatever genre, that is kind of your personality. But then there is a boy that eats minds instead of books, and his mother helps him. Diving right back into this one, maybe even during my lunch break, I don't know, we'll see. Hi guys, I'm back home now. It's been a long day. So I've been at work all day, but it's done now. I made it through. And I actually did manage to start The Book Eaters by Sun Dean, and I'm really enjoying it. I didn't get far. I only got to read it during my lunch break, and so I'm on page 18, which means that I'm starting the 3rd chapter now, and I'm really enjoying this. It was so creepy at the beginning. I've read the first chapter before, and it was as creepy as I remember, because you have Devon, who has a child, and you see her lure a guy into their apartment where she keeps her son under lock and key because he's dangerous. You can't really go into his room if he's in a mood, let's just say. She kind of pushes the guy in, I think he's a priest or something, and then kind of shuts the door again, and then you hear things like, ow. And it becomes clear very quickly that they're not human. Obviously, they are book eaters, which means that they get nourishment from stories, from books, so they need any kind of books to survive. Once in a while there is a child born that doesn't eat books but eats minds, and if it is kind of like a curse because they need to eat minds, really like eat brains basically, to survive. But at the same time, when they do that, they hurt themselves with it, and if they go for a while without, they kind of go crazy, and that's kind of why she had to lock him away, because right after he fed, he was okay to come out, and she just opened the door and was like, okay, now you can come out. So, oh, that's so creepy. We at the moment don't know how they ended up just being in a rundown apartment somewhere alone, because the 2nd chapter is a flashback 22 years ago when Devon was a child herself, and she was living with the families, which is the name for her people. And you kind of get a sense of the patriarchy that still sustains that whole family thing because it's not really family. It's uncles, and the women keep to themselves in the bedrooms because there aren't as many women as there are men, and the women seem to have kind of like a marriage contract, and they sometimes switch families and like to continue another contract. So very culty, like very. And she's like the only girl. All her like cousins and siblings are all boys, so she has like this princess status, and at some point in the future she becomes an outcast and she goes off with her son. I'm guessing because her son is different. So far, very creepy, very creepy. I'm very intrigued. I am so glad that I picked this up. I am listening to the audiobook as well, so I should get through it quite quickly. I love this edition, by the way. This is the naked hardback from Illumicrate. On the back, it's like this. It's like demon eyes. And then you have the sprayed edges. Very cool. And then inside looks like this. And it's signed by the author. Very happy that I started this. It's already 7 p.m. and I'm on sprints with Leandra. She's doing public sprints, so that helps, but I still need to edit the first vlog, so I don't know how much time I can actually put into reading tonight. I still have to make dinner, and I'm contemplating if I want to go watch the newest Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World movie, tomorrow in the cinema. I've heard mixed things about it. It's not supposed to be as great as some of the others, but at the same time I'm like, it's Jurassic World, it's Jurassic Park, you kind of have to see it on the big screen, because as you can see, this is my TV. It's small, it's old, and if I'm waiting to see it when it streams, like, that's not gonna be as wowing as seeing it on the big screen. So plans for tonight are just to continue with the book and continue editing and hopefully getting everything ready to upload it tomorrow, because I've been thinking, because this vlog that you're watching right now, it should go up on Friday, and then Fridays and Saturdays vlog should go up on Sunday, so it's always 2 days time between the vlogs. As you can tell, someone feels very on top of the world, because that's actually the bed for the dog. I put it in here because I had to work and I wanted her to have comfort in this new environment, but of course the moment that I put it down, the cat went into it, like very passive aggressively. But I feel like the dog is fine. They get along. They don't really love each other yet, but I will get them there.
For the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays. Way back a year ago.
Wow, that movie was not good. Oh my gosh. As you've seen, I just took myself out on a little date, just a little movie with snacks and everything, because, you know, Jurassic Park is something that I grew up with. It's like the original one is one of my favorite movies. I enjoy basically all of the movies in the franchise, some more than others. I was even like on board for the Jurassic World trilogy. The first one was really good, I thought. But guys, what was that? What was that? I mean, what was that? That wasn't Jurassic Park. That wasn't part of the franchise. I'm just gonna ignore that movie. We didn't get any of the nostalgia. Here and there, they gave us like a glimpse of an old dinosaur that we know and love and that we wanted to see more of. But they were kind of in the background. I feel like this was as if they didn't have the rights to the original dinosaur designs, so they kind of had to put other monsters in front, because that's what they were. They were monsters. They were gobbled together monsters that didn't really resemble dinosaurs at all. In Jurassic World, they also kind of messed with the dinosaur DNA and everything, but with this one, wow. Wow. So the only dinosaur that we actually got to see up close was a T-Rex, and they actually took a scene from the original book and put it into this movie. So there is a scene in the original book where they're on a river and they're kind of on a lifeboat kind of situation, and they go past a sleeping T-Rex. And in the book, I just had to laugh because it's kind of like a weird image to have in your head. That was kind of the closest that you got to an actual dinosaur experience in this movie. Also, what's up with the actors? They were not good. There were kind of two groups, right? They kind of split up at one point, and I'm not going to spoil anything for the movie, but they're kind of split up so that you have kind of two groups that you follow. And one has all the big actors, like all the ones that you know about, and then you have like a little group with the B cast. I enjoyed their story so much more than with the A-list celebrities. Jonathan Bailey is gonna be known for this movie only for The Bulge. Hello, someone knew what they were doing. Someone was doing their job right. That's gonna be his moment from this movie that everybody's gonna talk about for the rest of his life. The rest of the time, he and Scarlett were just sliding over the ground. They couldn't just run somewhere and just duck down. They always had to like slide everywhere, and all of them were kind of overacting. Like, how is it that the small girl who's like 12 or something is the best actress in this movie? How? I don't know. But I still had a good time. Rant over. I have to admit, I did have fun. I laughed out loud a couple of times, especially with like the B cast group. I kind of liked their whole spiel, so that was fun. So I'm not gonna view this as a dinosaur movie. It's not gonna be part of my Jurassic experience. I'm just gonna see this as a monster movie, and as such, I'm gonna say this is a scary movie that I watched for this readathon because it's scary how bad it was. I'm glad I went. I do think that the setting of the movie was really beautiful. I love the island aspect of it. Not much else. Gotta admit. But yeah, anyway, hi, welcome to day 5 of SUMMERWEEN. This is the first time I'm updating you today, so hi, it's already 10:30. But I knew going into this vlog that there wasn't going to be too much updating on day 4 and 5 because of my work and the camera. Gotta change the battery and then I'm gonna update you for real. For reals. Are you back? You good? Good. Ah, sorry. As you can tell, my brain is kind of mush. So let me quickly think. When was the last time I talked to you guys? Was it yesterday? I think I updated you a bit about the book that I was reading. And as it turns out, I don't really have an update for you guys because yesterday I used the rest of the day and the sprints that I was on with Leandra, I used those for editing. I needed to get the first vlog done and I'm so happy that I managed to do that, but it took all evening, so that's kind of where I did that. But I'm glad that I took my time because it turned out the way that I wanted it and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And so that's all I did yesterday, and then today I had so little sleep, I have to admit. I made sure when I woke up this morning that everything was scheduled and everything, that I had everything done because I had to go to work. Took the dog for a walk, went to work, came back from work, had just enough time to go for a walk with the dog again and just quickly shower to get all that day off me, and then go straight to the cinema and watch the movie. So the only reading that I did was during my lunch hour, and I wanted to use that as a way of quickly putting a check mark next to the challenge of today, because the prompt is to read a manga, a novella, or listen to a spooky audiobook. And so I had hoped that I could kind of crush it and just read a manga that we had like in the store. But the two things that I looked at didn't really catch my interest, so I put them down. I didn't continue. And I just picked up my current read, which is still The Book Eaters, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not that much further in. I don't have the book with me right now, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It is creepy, and you kind of get a feel a bit more for the characters and their situation and just the world of the book eaters and how different they are to humans, but not in every way, because of course women are still mistreated and used and seen as things to be owned and done with as the men see fit. So nothing really changed there. So I'm still enjoying that, and I want to continue with that tonight, hopefully. Okay, never mind, I got the book. So let me tell you where I'm at right now. So I'm on chapter 5 now, on page 37. So not much reading has been done. I think I only read like 2 or 3 chapters. I am enjoying the audiobook as well. So this is creepy and spooky enough. I could use this for the spooky audiobook as well, but I'm hoping to not double up on prompts. So I do have the second volume of The Promised Neverland. I have had this on my shelves for forever, so this would actually also work for a book that I've owned for more than a year. If you don't know, the first one is set in an orphanage, and you have all these kids that you kind of get to know and that you get to love and be like, oh, that's so cute. And then there's a plot twist. There's something happening outside of the orphanage, and that you find out in the first volume, and it's like my jaw dropped when I read that a few years ago, and I've been meaning to go back to it. So if I tell you that this is a manga that works for Summerween or for Halloween or for any spooky season, then you might want to pick it up. I don't want to go into it anymore because anything else would be a spoiler, so I want you to have that moment in volume 1 that I had. And it's funny because I only picked it up because someone else said that there is like this big plot twist, and I was like, now I want to know. And then I'm so glad that they didn't say anything else, because I had that moment. So you're gonna have it too. So I'm hoping to also pick this one up. And the good thing is that I don't have work tomorrow except for my freelance work, but that shouldn't take up most of my day like work today did. So I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done tomorrow. I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of the evening. I still have to get some food, and I still have to walk with the dog like once more before we go to bed, but I want to like push it a bit back so that she doesn't wake me up too early tomorrow. Originally, I had the idea to actually listen to an audiobook for this prompt for this day. I have an arc for If We Survive This by Raquel Marie. It's actually already out, so you should be able to get it if you want to. And that is kind of a story about a girl surviving the apocalypse. I think it's a zombie apocalypse in that one. I have heard that it's less like action centric and more about grief and getting through and surviving with just a bit of zombie on the side. It is a pretty short audiobook. It's 7.5 hours, and I do listen to it at 2.0 or like even more speed, so I could get through that rather quickly, but I'm just gonna see where this evening takes me, to be honest. Hi guys, welcome to day 6 of Summerween. If you can hear chewing in the background, that's the dog eating a carrot. Sorry that the last 2 days were kind of low on content, but I'm hoping today can make up for that. I have slept in, which was beautiful after 2 days of work. Now I just made myself some breakfast and got my coffee, which is very much needed, and I just did some cleaning, and now I can just enjoy my breakfast. Yesterday I didn't really get to do anything else. I was kind of doing other things like updating my calendar and my plans and everything, but I did start The Promised Neverland this morning, so I am a couple of pages into it, and the good thing is that there is like a recap in the beginning of the manga, so I kind of now know again who's who and what happened in the last volume, and I'm really enjoying it again. Just like a few pages in, and already I'm kind of like into the situation and what they have to do. And I totally forgot that I got the German edition of this one, but yeah, that's also a good translation. I feel like I haven't stumbled upon like a weird sentence or something, which happens sometimes with like translated works. I also updated my NetGalley yesterday, and I still need to do a few reviews, so I'm hoping to do that as well today. But then I also want to continue with the Book Eaters. Like I said, I haven't really continued with that one. But today's reading prompt is to read a book that has 6 words in the title, because this is the 6th time that Summerween is happening, and I decided to go with a magical innkeeping, that one. So I decided to go with that one. I have an arc for it. Is it released next week? I think so. You have a couple more days to wait until you can get it. Hopefully my review will help you decide if you want to get it. I really have high hopes for that one because I loved the first book in the series. This is kind of a companion novel to it. I'm wondering if we will meet some of the characters from the first novel in this one, or if it's just like the same universe and the same rules apply basically. But in this one we have an inn, and we have a niece who has been banned from magic, and the only way to get her magic back is to get a spell that only a historian can know. So she's approaching him. I think he's living at the inn at the moment, and so she kind of has to approach him and be like, you gotta help me, but I don't think it's against the rules. So he's very reluctant, and it's they're a romance, I'm guessing. Hopefully there's again found family. I hope that like the inn as a setting is gonna be filled with beautifully weird characters that we can all fall in love with. That's the hope for later today. But if I need an audiobook, I can still read this one. It is beautiful outside today, so hopefully I can go outside at some point today. Maybe after I do some freelance work and just enjoy the sun, just sit somewhere, maybe go to a cafe or something, just to get outside without having to go to work.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe there's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need, what you need. We're broken, it's tragic, we're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic, believe you could have it. And I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that is blackness.
Hi guys, sorry I didn't update you guys last night. It's now the next day. I feel like this vlog is gonna be just a bunch of b-roll, so I'm sorry if that happened, but life got in the way. Also kind of like the middle slump of a readathon. Yesterday I did not go out as planned. I'm hoping to do that today though. Today I just full on lost energy. Kind of took a long nap, did some work, but ended up not really doing much that I could have updated you guys on. But I did finish the Book Eaters. finally. But I'm glad that I took my time. I mean, it took me a while. I mean, considering this is a very short book, it's not even 300 pages, and it took me a while. But this was for the prompt to read a book that I've owned for over a year, and I've only ever heard like mid things about this, and so I kind of always pushed it back a bit, especially since horror or the more like gruesome fantasy isn't really my thing. But I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars, and when I looked at the reviews afterwards, because I was kind of wondering why the rating was overall so low, I do feel like a lot of people went into this with the wrong expectations. A lot of them were kind of hoping to have this more centric around the fact that they are book eaters and that kind of magic system, while I feel like that is just a way to have a canvas basically on which to show these family dynamics. The interesting thing about this is also I had the audiobook for it as well, and at the end of the audiobook there is an interview with the author and the narrator for this. I highly recommend listening to that one if you have the audiobook. And I thought it was really interesting because she did want to say that she didn't want this big epic thing where it's like Game of Thrones-esque, where these 6 families that are book eaters, she didn't want to put like a very epic spin on it. She didn't want it to be like a fight between these families, even though there are tensions between these families and there are like different ways of approaching life with humanity. She really wanted to show the pains and the labors and the problems that would arise from just a couple of people inside that system, and I thought that was so very well done. She said that she wanted to show that love isn't always nice, it's not always a warm cozy thing, it's not always a good thing, because people do things for love, for their loved ones, that are bad, that are morally gray or even dark and questionable. We follow Devon, and Devon grew up as a princess of one of the families. Book eaters get nourishments from books and also their wisdom, and they learn from it. So every time they eat a printed thing, they ingest basically the knowledge from that scroll, book, magazine, whatever they have, but they themselves can't write. And it's interesting because this is set in modern times, so they can't even text or write anything on the computer because that would be writing as well, and they're kind of trying to figure out a way to go around it, trying to figure out how they can communicate. That is like one thing that was, I thought, interesting because it kind of makes them not adaptable to our world, especially since there are less and less girls born, and so they don't really have a means of keeping their species alive. So they have to be really careful with how they want to go about this. And a long time ago they kind of decided that in order to have enough children, because again there's a problem with conception, book eater women can only give birth twice, so they kind of have to make sure that they get as much use out of women. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's kind of how they phrase it, by not making them marry just one person, but marry one person, get a child, and then move on to the next marriage. And it's so gruesome to see that center of it. It is very much like a cult book. If you like stories about cults and the way that these cults are cultivated and set up, and very much a patriarchy where women don't have any rights and are just things to pawn off and don't have any real power. That is kind of the feel that you have for most of this book, because you always switch between the present time and back when the main character Devon was growing up. You kind of skip through her life to certain moments in her life when it is very obvious how her life changed, when she was a very naive young girl, a princess, a really like pampered, spoiled little girl that wasn't punished for her faults, towards being sold off basically as a bride. But in the present time, she and her son, who's a mind eater, they are kind of hoping to find a way to cure the mind eating while also staying ahead of all the people are trying to get them back into the fold of the family. So this does have chase scenes, it does have action, and of course there is the mind eating, which is kind of gory. But for the most part, I would say this is about a woman trying to escape her circumstances and showing you in a lot of different ways about the problems that this world has. Like the aspect of family and also the manipulation of family. Oh my god, it's so hard. And then there's this way of of bringing it back to book eating is the way that they make sure that the women only eat fairy tales, and all the adventure and all the knowledge and science-based things are like for boys and men. So even in that way, they control what a woman knows, what they expect from life. And a lot of this is based on fairy tales, because a lot of the terminology within the book eater community is based on fairy tales. So you kind of have knights who are basically the police between these families. They are also in control of dragons, and the dragons are the mind eaters. Going into this book, I thought that the boy in this, the son of Devon, was the only mind eater, that he was kind of a new thing happening, but actually there are mind eaters in this from the get-go, and they're so dangerous because of course they can also eat the minds of book eaters, and they can't really control their urge. The knights are basically keeping track and being like the guards of the dragons. So it's always interesting to always bring it back to fairy tales, because in the beginning it was like a sentence of, yeah, the knights were like coming but on motorcycles, and they brought 1 or 2 dragons with them, and I was like, huh, what's happening? Like, wait, what? I loved that aspect, and I get why people would say they need more of the book eating, but I just love that that was just the background, that was just the everyday for them. It kind of played into the plot at some points, because she would just eat the timetable for a train station, and so she would always know exactly when a train would leave, like as a precaution, because they had to like flee at a moment's notice. So those kind of things kind of were really funny to witness. But overall this was very hard, and it's not a very happy book because no one is winning in this. No one. There is queer representation in it, so I was happy to figure that one out. I kind of want to go back. I have like 2 things that I want to like mark. I want to mark down all the things about like the patriarchy, about this cult kind of thinking and manipulation, and then I want to also, like with a different color or something, I want to mark everything that has to do with like book eating and mind eating and what that does to the characters and the world. So you don't really have much of human interaction in this one. It really is just between these people and these families, and yeah, I loved it. Really enjoyed it. 4.5 stars. Kind of broke me a little bit. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And I'm so glad that I DNF'd Rewitched, because that means that this was my 100th book finished for the year. And I'm so happy. Also happy for this readathon that I had to read a book that I've owned for more than a year, because I don't know when I would have gotten to this one. This has been on my radar and like on my TBRs for a very long time, since I've had this since 2022 this was released, and I've had it since then. So yay, it's finished. And then yesterday I also finished The Promised Neverland Volume 2. Like I said before, I can't really go into detail about the plot because that would spoil like a big plot point of book 1. And again, I gave it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. There was a plot twist in this one as well. It wasn't as big as in volume 1, but in this one again I was like, oh wait, no, why? And in this one we are kind of in a holding pattern before the bigger plot is coming, I guess in book 3, volume 3. I don't know, but I will continue. But I did notice that this has like 20 volumes, so who knows when I'll get to the next one. I'm hopefully not waiting as long to read the next book in the series as I did with this one, because I think there was like 2 years in between reading volume 1 and volume 2. So I need to stay on top of this one. But yeah, this was for the prompt to read a manga, a novella, or listen to a spooky audiobook. Also a spooky audiobook, but this is for that prompt. And I also started my read for the last prompt for this vlog, and that was to read a book that has 6 words in the title. And for that I started A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I also did yesterday's Instagram prompt, which was to take a picture of a book in nature. So that is how it all turned out. Also, yesterday I noticed that I'm a dum-dum. I always thought that I had watched all of Criminal Minds, and I had a feeling like I did see the announcement for the evolution. I don't know, but in my mind that was like last year that I heard that they were doing like a reboot and that they were coming back, and I thought that this season that is on right now is the one that I haven't seen, and that it's just like a couple of episodes. And then I went into it yesterday and I noticed that I have 2 seasons, 16 and 17, that I still need to watch. Like, how did I miss that? How? I think in the meantime I had started a rewatch of the seasons, and I didn't even realize that there were new seasons that I hadn't even watched yet. It's one of my favorite series. I have rewatched it like multiple times. Like, how did that happen? But that also means that I again watched something scary, which works for the activity prompt that I already did with Jurassic World. But in this case it actually was scary, so that actually works out perfectly. But yeah, that is kind of why I didn't do much else yesterday after a certain time, because I think I watched 3 or 4 episodes of season 16, and now I need to make sure that it doesn't derail all my reading plans. It's now the next day. I'm gonna start the next vlog right after finishing this update. I'm gonna link vlog 1 down below if you haven't watched it already, and I'm gonna link vlog 3 in the future when that one is done as well, so go check those out. If you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe if you haven't already, and until the next time, I hope you have all the great reads. Bye!